There we go. Morning, Lucas. So we're going to start off today by doing something a little bit different, not necessarily related to math. It's called a meme check-in. So I'm going to show you guys a meme or two. You're just going to say there might be numbers next to it, and you're just going to respond and say, okay, this is more like me today, or this is more like me today. And we're just going to kind of, again, have some fun. Again, if you're comfortable, if you want to turn your screen on, I absolutely encourage it. If not, no worries as well. All right, let's take a look. So again, meme check-in, here we go. It says 11th grade, but you don't need to be in 11th grade to do this. Let's pick 20. 1 through 9, type into the chat box. Which meme are we feeling more like today? Eight, 9, 1, 8. Awesome. We are kind of all over the place. 6, 9. Awesome. If you're just joining us, we're doing a meme check-in. Go ahead and type into the chat which meme responds to you. Let's try the 16. Okay, looks like an anime one. I'm not exactly sure which one this is. If you know what this is, enlighten us. But which meme are we trending towards? Five, I don't know, just laying on the ground with your head in the dirt, I guess. Okay, definitely not feeling good. I gotcha. All right, let's do 7. Dog in a building on fire, drinking coffee, saying this is fine, or Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc. in a straight face. 1 or 2. All right. Last one. I need a volunteer. Pick a number. First one to type in. Shout out, unmute. 22. Thanks, Jay. 22. All right. Ooh. Uh, Guardians of the Galaxy. I like that one. Either meme or favorite character. Rocket. Groot. Baby Groot. Yeah. Well, as we can see kind of from our responses, everyone seems to kind of be all over the place. Our word for the month, our theme is empathy. So as we go through not just class, but as we go through life, again, keep in mind everyone's coming from all different backgrounds, all different situations. And so it is good to keep that in mind and have empathy for people at all times because you never know what someone else is going through. Okay, so let's transition a little bit into looking at our Schoology page, talk about what's coming up, and then we will get into our review. So if you haven't already, as you look at our Schoology page, we have a test for this week. So again, I strongly encourage you, look at these big ideas, okay? Try this review on your own. Check your work with the answer key. These are resources available to you. Just double checking. All right. These are resources that are available to you to help you prepare for your test. If you're still having trouble with IXL, if you can't get logged in, if you haven't finished your diagnostic test, please, please, please finish your diagnostic test. Okay. We're going to move on from there. And then we talked about a new unit. So again, you've got your notes here. Thanks for reminding me, Jay. You've got your blank notes and you've got your my notes, okay, the completed notes. I really want you to take these notes as you're watching the videos to help you remember things. We're going to review lessons 1 and 2 today. So again, that's what we're going to kind of do today. So we reviewed a lot of Unit 5 last week, so we're really going to spend some time on getting started on Unit 6. Just looking ahead before winter break, we're going to get into Unit 6 here, and then we will finish Unit 6 that last week. Okay, so again, kind of busy full week, couple weeks. This is a 4-day week, so there is kind of a good amount of stuff that we can get through. But basically, we're starting Unit 6 this week, and we're going to finish it right before winter break. So make sure you've got something to write with. We're going to do some practice problems, jot down a few notes, and then we will talk about what else we're going to do today. I know last week I had some trouble sharing my screen. It has been fixed, okay? The classic, all I had to do was update my iPad. So anytime you have any sort of technological troubles, I strongly recommend you try to update your iPad because that seems to be the most common way to fix anything. All right, so lesson 1 and 2, we talked a lot about ratios and proportions. And again, oftentimes those come in fractions. And then we kind of talked about a specific way or a specific method called the geometric mean. So that's what I want to jump into right now. Okay, let's talk about the geometric mean. And it kind of works like this. We have our number A. Let's get a different color. We've got our number A. And then we've got X on the bottom. We're comparing these things. And that's going to be equal to, the geometric happens when your denominator in one fraction occurs in your the numerator of the other fraction. So here I've got X in 2 different places, followed by B down here. So whatever sort of numbers I'm given, if I have a question and it says, find the geometric mean of, just going to make it up, 8 and 20, okay, I would say, all right, well, this number is going to be A, this number is going to be B. I'm going to plug those numbers in to my equation. So I'm going to get 8 over X equals X over 20. How do we solve one of these problems? We have to cross multiply. So that's going to be the key to solving these, is to cross multiply. So 8 times 20 equals X times X. What's another way to write X times X? X squared. Yeah. 8 times 20 is 160 equals X squared. How do I undo a square? I have to do what? I have to take the square root. The square root. So I'm going to square root X squared. Anything I do on the right side, I have to do on the left side. I'm going to split this up into square root 16 times 10. That's the same thing as 160. Square root of X squared cancels out. I'm left with just X. And now again, my rules say I can split this up square root of 10, or 16 times square root of 10. And we know that that is 4 square root 10. So totally just made that problem up on the spot. But that's a good example of saying, okay, given 2 numbers, can I find the geometric mean? Oh yeah. Let me just double check something real quick. All right. Another problem. Let's switch gears. I want you to try one. Okay, I want you to try one. So you might want to use a calculator on this one because the numbers aren't quite as nice. All right, just talked about geometric mean. This one talks about paper, okay? The standard paper size of an A4 paper is 210 millimeters by X. And the standard for an A3 is x over 420. So I want you to use the geometric mean, set up a proportion, and solve for x. Let's try to see what we get. Take 60 seconds, try this on your own. Feel free to use a calculator. As I set up my proportion, I should get something like 210 over x equals x over 420. When I cross multiply, I get x squared equals 210 times 420. Another way to write 420 is by saying 210 times 210, or excuse me, 210 times 2. So if I do 210 times 2 and I rewrite it, I get 210 times 210 times 2. Therefore, the square root of two numbers multiplied by themselves is itself. Think about it. The square root of 36 is 6. 6 times 6 is 36. The square root of 25 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So whatever 210 times 210 equals, I know that the square root of it is going to be 210, and I'm left with square root of 2. So that, if you got a decimal answer, would be about 297. 297. We also talked about using proportions within like triangles and these ratios within sort of specific shapes. So I'm going to draw one here, and I'm going to have a large triangle and I'm going to have a small triangle. And for some people, it may be really, really helpful to actually draw out these two triangles. What we're going to look for is x. We know that this side right here is 16. And we know that this is 10, and this whole thing is 30. So go ahead again, if you know what to do, jump into it. One thing that I mentioned is redrawing these triangles. So I could try to pull out some of this information. Here's my little triangle. I know it's 16. I don't necessarily know how much this is, and I don't really know how much this is either. If I look at my big triangle, I would say, all right, this side is x plus 16. This side is 30. And okay, that's about, I don't really know much about the bottom. Could we potentially figure out what PR is? Does anyone have an idea? Could we figure out what PR is? We could, and it's something you've heard me say a lot this year. Little segment plus little segment equals big segment. So if I have a little segment of 10, a little segment I'm not sure of, and then it equals 30, well, the only thing that this could equal is 20. And I could fill this in right here. So now I've got some stuff that I can work with. I might say, all right, I'm going to correspond this side to this side, and then I'm going to look at this side to this side. So as I set up my equation, I'm going to get my yellow sides, 20 over 30 equals my orange side, 16 over x plus 16. This is still solvable. You just have to multiply very, very carefully. So I'm going to cross multiply these two numbers. 30 times 16. I'll use a calculator later. 20 times x plus 16. You have to use parentheses because this 20 is multiplied by everything in between or inside. 30 times 16 is 480. 20x plus 20 times 16 is 320. Okay, let's subtract 320. 160 equals 20x. Divide by 20, and you get x equal to 8. So if we go back to the question, if the question asked for x, I would be done. What if the question said, how long is line SP? How long is line SP? I plug in x, which was 8, and get 8 plus 16 equals 24. All right. I've got a few different ideas on what to do next. Let's do this problem using proportions in real life. So I'm going to read the problem and I'm going to give you some time to try it on your own. A scale model of the Titanic is 107.5 inches long and 11.25 inches wide. The Titanic itself was 882.75 feet long. How wide was it? Okay. All right. So I'm going to, in my head, think about setting up a proportion. There's two ways to do it. I can do real Titanic over real Titanic, or I can compare like long to long, wide to wide. I would set it up saying, okay, I know how long it was on the model and I know how long it was on the Titanic. So I would set those up as a proportion and then I would say equals, and then I would say I used model to Titanic. I have to stay consistent, put the model on top, put the Titanic on the bottom. So go ahead, try this one on your own right now. Again, a calculator is probably, unless you feel like really doing a lot of multiplication, calculator is going to save you a lot of time. So one way to set up the proportion, like we said, is to do width over width equals length over length. They chose to put the Titanic on top and the model ship on the bottom. Again, it does not matter as long as you're consistent, because when you cross multiply, you end up cross multiplying the exact same thing. So you're going to equal the same answer. And so as you work through it again, using a calculator, you should get an answer of about 92.4 feet wide. So again, if once you cross multiply and divide by 107.5, you should get about 92.4 feet wide. So yeah, I would recommend converting it into feet because the other answer was given in feet. Like right here. So if you're trying to find it, you'd want it to be the same. Okay. Any questions, concerns? Again, that's stuff from Unit 6. That's not on your test for this week. Okay, that's our new stuff for this week. Any questions on that stuff before we talk about our Class Connect assignment? There it is. All right. So let's pull it up. Again, how do you get credit? Show me you were following along. Hopefully we learned something if we weren't sure on anything. Our geometry page, okay? It's one of the first folders, quarter 2 Class Connect assignments. I'm going to publish it right now. This is a problem we already did. So again, if you were writing it down, if you were following along, we did this already. We said 210 over x equals x over 420. Okay, and then we found the geometric mean. So again, you should have that answer written down. Couple ways to solve this one. Again, we kind of talked about it. You've got one triangle right here. Here's why. You've got a bigger triangle out here. So again, you know the small triangle has a side of 9 and a side of y. You know the big triangle has a side of 12 and a side of 16. So I would set up a proportion and solve to find y. So your goal is to find y. Find this y right here. You've got your calculator right here if you need it. And then using what I want you to do on this one, you can find it the same way, sure, find f, and then I want you to tell me what the scale factor is. So the important thing about a scale factor is to think, am I going from the big to the small, or am I going from the small to the big? So for example, we can talk about this one. If this is 3 and this is f, this whole thing is 6 and this is 8. I know that 3 times 2 is 6. So I could take something times 2 to get 8. I don't know what it is. We could go the other way. So we could say 8 divided by 2 would be 4. So if f is 4, now I have to determine, am I going big to small, which would be 1/2, or am I going small to big? The question says Hij, that's small, to GIF. GIF is big. Small to big would be 4 times 2 equals 8. 3 times 2 is 8. Therefore, my scale factor from small to big is 2. That was a lot. I know it was a lot. Again, study hard for that Unit 5 test. Make sure if you have any questions, ask me before you take the test. And then hopefully you moved on. Again, we've got a Class Connect next week. So next week will be our last Class Connect before winter break. And then we'll finish up that last week of school before winter break. We'll finish Unit 6 and then take the Unit 6 test. So that will be nice. You won't have to worry about anything over winter break because we'll start a fresh unit when we come back. Have a great rest of your day. Let me know if you have questions. And I will see you same time, same place next Thursday.